Hello.
I got you.
Cool.
We're going to do the Clemson players audio here.
Okie dokie.
Runner at first base is number 23, Nick Webb. At the plate, the shortstop, number 3, Hal Hughes.
Phil, he's going to get you to update Carolina first, okay?
Sure. How's my connection been, Brian?
Been fine.
Number 16.
Not getting drowned out by the background noise, am I?
Nah, you're good. Absolutely good.
All right, good.
Are you using the Yeti?
No, I'm using my headset.
Okay.
I think the Yeti picks up too much surround sound. Actually, it's not the Yeti, it's the iRig. I know one thing, I am a tired puppy.
You got one more day there?
Well, no, I mean, if Carolina loses, I'm on my way back after the show. Shit, that's heads up. That's coming right at us. Whoop! And no. Oh, he stopped that part. This DJ's really good.
Kind of feel like you're being sarcastic.
No, he's really good. Hannah.
Round 2 of Sports Talk up next with your hosts Phil Kornblut, Will Pelagic, and the Professor Tom Hayes. Don't leave us hanging. Join the show, 800-956-7266.
Welcome back, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, as we come to you on this Thursday, the 24th day of May, 2018, from 3 places to you in the Palmetto State. Will Pelagic here in Durham. Phil Kornblut is in the Hoover Met, the SEC tournament. I'm at the ACC tournament. Manning the controls back in our Columbia studios are Professor Tom Hayes and our producer, Brian Leonard. Here in Durham, it's 4-2 in favor of Virginia as they bat here in the bottom of the 8th inning, 3 defensive outs away from winning their contest here over NC State, which would be a bit of a mini upset here in this contest here with NC State, as they get themselves ready to play their elimination game tomorrow. Again, this game means nothing. NC State still has its elimination contest tomorrow against Louisville. Carolina currently playing in the 9th inning at Hoover against LSU. Phil Kornblut is there.
I am indeed. Question is, how much longer will I be here? Jacob Olsen just made perhaps a game-saving catch for South Carolina, a diving catch near the line in right field for the final out here in the top of the 9th. If he doesn't make that catch, an insurance run would score for LSU. Instead, it's 3-2, just a 1-run difference. Sawyer Bridges came in that inning for South Carolina, and got the job done there at the very end. He did. Let's see. He did get a runner on base with a walk, but like I said, they were able to get out of the inning with that very nice play by Olson. So 3-2, 3-7-0 for LSU, 2-4-1 for the Gamecocks. They come up here in the bottom of the ninth inning, and they've obviously got to score at least one to extend this thing, and they will send up Tolbert, Taylor, and Olson, 6, 7, and 8 in their lineup. And they will be facing Todd Peterson, who came in the last inning for LSU. So he's a right-hander. So that's the way things look as we get ready here for the bottom of the ninth, and we'll see if USC can extend its stay here in Hoover. Lose or go home. I mean, the Gamecocks have they've done what they typically do here in Hoover, lose pretty early, except for last year when they made it all the way to the semifinals. South Carolina does not have a great history. Remember, before last year, they had gone 4 consecutive tournaments without winning a game. So it's not unusual for South Carolina not to be here for the weekend. But they got 3 swings at it coming up. We'll see what they can do as they trail 3-2 going to the bottom of the ninth.
And Will, if I may add, LSU, this is typical of LSU, especially in a season where they're unsure if they're going to make the NCAA tournament. They'd love to get within the weekend so many of those LSU fans from Louisiana and other places can get down to Hoover, and then they can turn it into LSU East, I guess you could say. But they've done this before.
Yeah, the Bayou Bengals certainly have a lot of experience with this. Catching you up on some of the other tournaments involving in-state teams, College of Charleston lost that game with Elon 3-2. Matt Oldham of Elon in the 12th inning, a tie-breaking single to walk it off for Elon. College of Charleston now goes into the losers bracket there in the CAA. Earlier in that tournament, it was UNC Wilmington beating Northeastern by a score of 9-2. Early today, Furman lost to East Tennessee State by a score of 5-2 in the SoCon. UNC Greensboro beat VMI 11-7. The Paladins are eliminated from that tournament. Mercer run rules Western Carolina 15-0 in Game 8 of that. And right now, just about to get underway, Wofford and Sanford in a winner's bracket contest, Game 9 in the SoCon. It was Liberty beating Radford 3-2 in the Big South. Early today, Campbell beat Gardner-Webb 8-3. Winthrop will play an elimination. Gardner-Webb coming up here later on tonight. That game going on south, and they're just about to get underway in the Sun Belt Conference with Coastal Carolina and South Alabama. Earlier today, it was resuming the Wednesday halted game with Louisiana and Little Rock. They played a 19-16 tilt that had to be completed from yesterday. Georgia Southern beat UT Arlington 3-1. It was Texas State over Little Rock 6-3. And again, Coastal Carolina playing South Alabama. Coastal Carolina having won over UT Arlington earlier in the tournament, playing their second game here against South Alabama. They are the 4th seed. Coastal, of course, is number 1. Here tonight, Clemson and Miami will play the first of the 4 elimination contests that will be played over the next 4 contests here at Durham Bulls Athletic Park.
May I jump in real quick?
During the regular season, a 2 out of 3 series loss at Doug Moore Stadium. Brooks Crawford on the hill tonight. Yesterday, we had a chance to catch up with some of the Clemson players, Logan Davidson, Seth Beer, and Chris Williams, following a 17-run inning to the tune of a 21-4 victory over the Notre Dame Fighting Irish here yesterday in Durham.
Well, in that second at-bat, right-handed, bases were loaded, so I was kind of expecting something off-speed at some point. I mean, I didn't get it earlier. I mean, I got it later than I thought. Fastball took a good hack at the first one. Second one was kind of right there, but I was, again, looking off-speed, so he kind of got me there, and then I finally got that curveball. He just kind of left it up, and I took a good hack at it, and it went out. I think it hit a table or something. I don't know. That was
Seth, 4th straight game you've hit one over the wall. Talk to us about the home run today, and kind of been waiting, Clemson fans, to see the 3 of you guys, the big 3, play well at the same time, and obviously today you guys did it in the same inning.
I was just looking for something in that situation. Runners on base and stuff like that. And, Wilkie did a great job the bat before to get on base and, give me an opportunity, to drive him in. So, I was just looking for something, over the plate. Guy just came in the ball game. So, he's going to try to establish his fastball early. So I was just looking for something up in the zone to drive. And, I put a good swing on. And I would say, for all of us, going on all cylinders. I think that was a big deal. Every at bat throughout that whole ball game, no matter what the score, everybody was competing, and that preaches a lot to a ball club that we're not giving away at bats, and that's something you look for in a great ball club.
That's Seth Beer, followed before that by Logan Davidson as the Clemson Tigers victorious made 21-4. We understand the Gamecocks are threatening in Hoover Corner.
Yes, we're going to have more Gamecock baseball, either in this game or tomorrow, as things stand right now, because they have just tied it up a couple of moments ago. Tolbert led off with a line drive to center that went over the head of the center fielder, Watson. He had to turn his back and run to the wall to track it down. Tolbert scooted to third. Then after a ground out to short by Taylor that could not advance the runner, the Gamecocks have tied it up with Olson, who made the really nice catch, maybe the game-saving catch to end the top of the ninth. Olson delivers an RBI single. We are tied at 3 here in the bottom of the ninth with 1 out and a runner on first.
There's just something about this Gamecock ball club, isn't there, guys? I mean, Corn has said it throughout this week. It just, to me, I don't know if it's – I mean, we saw it earlier in the year, and then they come up short. You think about the Clemson game, the comments that were made after the Clemson game that were made by the players there. It just seems like there's a new kind of mentality among this group.
Well, I think the key thing is I think all the adversity, they went through in the early part of the season, especially some close losses, including close losses in the Clemson series, getting blown out again by North Carolina, the injuries. I think some of the guys there, especially the younger guys, have found out the things that don't kill you make you stronger. And I think this is a mentally stronger team than when they started off at the beginning of the season.
Corn, from the perspective of South Carolina, I think, a lot of people are asking about whether or not, Mark Kingston, you could say the first year is a success or not. I think just mentally from the standpoint, from where they were going into this year and even where they were earlier in parts of this year after the midweek losses, you could say that he's done wonders, again, to change the mentality surrounding this ball club.
Well, I think one thing that really impresses me about him is his ability to stay on an even keel. When they got off to the slow start, the 1-5 start in the SEC, he didn't show any panic. When they were losing those midweek games, he just talked about they had to play better, they had to play smarter, things of that nature. He never, at least publicly, he never became rattled. And as the team has turned it around in SEC play here in the second half, and now they're trying to pull this one out against LSU, I mean, his approach is one game at a time, one hitter at a time, and I think his players feed off that sort of never give up, never give in mentality, and it's paid off for them in aces many times this season, and they're trying to see if they can pull one out here this afternoon.
Inching toward the start of Clemson and Miami, which should be started here in about an hour, and, of course, we'll keep you updated on the conclusion of South Carolina LSU whenever it comes.
Now this is a story all about how my life got twisted upside down, and I'd like to take a minute to sit right there and tell you how I became the prince of a town called Bel Air.
Attention, please. The South Carolina pinch hitter, number 4, Danny Blair.
Oh, great.
You got another note?
We go to 10th.
Bottom of the ninth, 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, 1 man left on base.
Hell, I'm not sure we'll be out of here before this day is over.
South Carolina 3.
No, you know this song.
Nah. This guy likes to put reverb at the end of his tracks.
Yeah, probably works for him. That's signature.
They've shown him. They've put him up on the screen. He's got a nice gig. He's got a nice, I guess, not turntables, whatever they use these days. Computers, electronic gadgets.
Sports Talk is the sports talk show of Main Street, South Carolina. From the coast to the mountains, we cover it all.
Welcome back, Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network, where we're brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Visit foundersfcu.com to learn how they can help your financial needs, and by the folks at the South Carolina soybean farmers and their checkoff. Learn more at scsoybeans.org. Pork, powered by soy. We have finished here in the second game at the ACC tournament in Durham. Going to be basically somewhat on time, if you count on time as being at least starting this game before the sun sets. Virginia wins 4-2 over NC State. Virginia's stay in the tournament is over. NC State, despite losing because of Virginia's earlier loss, will play in the elimination contest coming up on Friday when they take on Florida State. That is the final game of the day tomorrow. So because of that, again, lost by Virginia earlier in this tournament to Florida State. It'll be Florida State and NC State playing for the right to go to the semifinals on Saturday. Now, from the standpoint, and by the way, that will be the winner of that game, by the way, will be the one that takes on the winner of the Miami and Clemson contest. That will be the second semifinal on Saturday. Meanwhile, extra innings right now in Hoover Corn, LSU and South Carolina knotted up.
Indeed, like I said earlier here at the SEC, it just means more, and again, it means more baseball. We had extra innings in the first game. We've got extra innings in this game. It's a 3-3 contest, South Carolina LSU. Sawyer Bridges on the mound for the Gamecocks. Now, before the inning started and after he completed his pre-inning warm-ups, the South Carolina training staff went out to visit with him for a few moments, and I don't know what the issue was. They talked to him, and he appears to be healthy and I guess okay. He just allowed a leadoff single for LSU, so don't know if there's something bothering him or just what, but they did go out to talk to him for just a few moments before the inning started. And so we're underway here in the top of the 10th. The Gamecocks with that terrific comeback in the bottom of the inning, and now they're trying to see if they can maybe get out of here unscathed and win this thing in the bottom of the 10th and then move on to play the loser of tonight's last game. And I'm so happy that Florida and Arkansas get to play the last game tonight. Let them turn out the lights here at the stadium and sweep it out like we've had to do the last two nights.
Clemson has taken the field. They will be wearing their purple regalia uniforms with the orange numbers and lettering and the purple caps. So if you are a person of superstition, you will know, again, that they were wearing orange yesterday. So we'll see if the change in color means anything to them. They will be the home team They were the road team yesterday against Notre Dame, but they will be the home team tonight against the Hurricanes. Again, this is a rematch from the regular season. Clemson lost 2 of 3 to the Miami Hurricanes. The folks at the Sportsbook South Point in Las Vegas have placed the opening lines for the games of the year in college football. The Gamecocks League opener against Georgia, they have South Carolina as an 11-point underdog. They also have a line out on the Palmetto Bowl. I know, Corn, we were talking about this week with a friend of yours. You had a friend who said that they would give 4 touchdowns. Well, it's kind of close. It's a 19-point favored right now is Clemson over South Carolina at Death Valley. Other games that they have surveyed at South Point, Clemson favored by 20 points at home against NC State, by 10 at Florida State as a road favorite, and then a 20.5 at home against Louisville. Some of your thoughts on those numbers, gentlemen.
Well, go ahead, Pro.
Yeah, well, it's still early. We don't even know who's going to be the principal players or who catches fire when it starts. Georgia, so much of this is predicated on what people saw of Georgia last year, and of course the momentum from last recruiting season. But this Georgia team lost a lot of talent, Will. You and I both know that defense, unless they've got some proper replacements, they're going nowhere near the defense that Georgia had last year. And as I said before, Georgia had something last year that you're not going to see anymore. You're not going to see 2 senior primo running backs in the same backfield in the same seniors in the same season. So things just struck right for Georgia. Now, if they start off good, we shall see. But I still say Georgia has something to prove what kind of replacements they're going to have.
Corn, I'm very curious just from the standpoint of the quarterback play. They were so quick to anoint Jacob Fromm the second coming, so much so that they basically forced Jacob Eason out to transfer away. What will happen if, Fromm comes out to start the year? Maybe there's a loss to South Carolina. Maybe there's a couple of slip-ups and he's not as sharp. Will they rue the day they ran Jacob Eason out of Athens?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm sorry, I've kind of got my mind on the baseball right here because LSU had a leadoff single. He was cut down trying to steal second, and now they've gotten another single, and now Sawyer Bridges is being taken out of the ball game with a runner on first and 1 man out. And we'll wait and see who comes in from the bullpen for South Carolina to see who they're going to go with here in this critical situation. 1 man out and a runner on first in a 3-3 game. As far as the football is concerned and the early odds that we're getting now, that's all well and good. I don't know how you can project odds for a game that's going to be played in late November here in the end of May. So many things happen, injuries, disappointing performances, change in positions, whatever the case may be. I mean, what did you say the spread was on the Palmetto Bowl?
19 in favor of Clemson.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. If South Carolina's got 8 or 9 wins going into that ball game, if things go like people are saying, let's say they beat Georgia and they go 6-2 in the SEC. At that point, that's 8 games, and then there's 3 other wins. So let's say they're 9-2, best case scenario, going to Clemson. I don't care if Clemson's 11-0 at that point. A 9-win South Carolina team with a win over Georgia and some other quality victories is going to be less than a 19-point favorite to Clemson, I would think. Gilreath, by the way, is coming in to pitch for the Gamecocks.
I would say even where 19 is still looked at, I'm not trying to be flippant about saying this, but it's still looked at as a progression over the norm, because if you think about the fact that, there was the blowout win a couple of years ago, the spread in the game was 24 last year with South Carolina at home. I would think losing by 19 would be an improvement, would it not? I'm saying yes.
I don't think Gamecock fans would look at it that way, to be quite honest with you.
I'm saying it's somewhat in jest, guys. Relax here. Relax. It's somewhat in jest. Don't go saying that I'm a Clemson homer now because I said a jestful comment towards South Carolina.
The word I'm getting out of the press box in Durham is that you're not well liked up there. So I don't know what jesting and seriousness comes out of your mouth, it's hard to differentiate the two.
Here's the bottom line. People aren't happy unless they're feeling aggrieved.
Yes.
Yes. If that is not a sentence that is more appropriate in the year 2018, I don't know which one is. What is your situation right now in Hoover?
Well, we're in a pitching change, and Gilreath has come on for South Carolina. It's 1 out, 3-3. LSU's got another runner on first. As I mentioned, they got the leadoff runner on with a single. He was cut down by Hunter Taylor trying to steal second. Hunter Taylor has got himself an arm. I tell you, he does a great job throwing out runners. But now they're back in a little bit of a pickle again with a runner on first and one man out. And Gilreath, who has not pitched well here of late, at one point earlier in the year, he looked really good. Of course, he should be in high school. This is a kid that skipped his senior year of high school to enroll early in school, and they put a lot on him early. And now he's going to see if he can save the Gamecocks bacon here and get this thing, keep it tied so they can go to the bottom of the 10th with a chance to win it with just one run.
Yeah, one observation, Will, about LSU I've seen in the last few games, I've watched them on television, is this is a team that will run itself out of games. They can get overly aggressive on the base pass, and South Carolina's defense has to be stellar because I think they're going to try to stay aggressive and maybe even send this runner.
Yeah, it's weird. It's something to be said for being aggressive on the base pass, but you don't want to do it to your detriment. And on Corn's point about Hunter Taylor, I know a lot of people will give some sentimental comments about Carlos Cortez being the MVP of this ball club. They're not where they are without Hunter Taylor, in my mind. We'll keep you updated on what's going on in Hoover and talk to the money coach next here on Sports Talk.
Catcher, number 7, Hunter Fiducia.
Fiducia. Oh, Jesus H. Christ. How many replays can you have in one game? I mean, whatever happened to trusting an umpire's decision? That's why they get slack now, because they know they can be corrected. They got mama on the replay. Ah, Jesus Christ. I'm not so sure this thing will get over before the day's over. I leave if they lose. I'm on edge, man. I'll tell you what, I'm on edge. I've had no sleep. I've been living in this press box. I think I'm losing my mind. Huh? I mean,
Your attention, please. The LSU pinch hitter is number 24, Bo Jordan.
Welcome back, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. We come to you from Hoover, from Durham, from the capital city, and all into your living room, cars, and also online at SportsTalkSC.com, on the TuneIn Radio app, on our main station, our Columbia flagship, 100.7 The Point. Whenever preempts us, you can get us there, and you can also get us via our Periscope at SportsTalkSC on Twitter. Before we hit to the money, Coach Corn, update us on what's going on in your situation in extra innings.
Yeah, it's the SEC where it just means more replays. My goodness, we've had so many replays in this game. I've been able to take a nap in between pitches from time to time. I'm not sure. I'm not crazy about replays in baseball. I'm telling you, we just had a replay of a routine call at first base, and it only took them about 30, 40 seconds once they got in position to look at it to rule that the runner was safe. But, I mean, to me, it just takes you out of the flow of the game and just slows everything down to a plodding pace. But anyway, that's my bitch for that. 3-3, we go to the bottom of the 10th. Twice LSU had a runner on first. One got caught stealing. And then the last one was stranded when they had a fly ball to the outfield, deep to the outfield, but it didn't get out of the ballpark. And so we go to the bottom of the 10th, and the Gamecocks have a chance to win this thing 3-3. And let me just check to see who the Gamecocks will be sending up in this at-bat. They'll send up Cortez and Stokes and Bride. So they got the middle of the lineup coming up against Todd Peterson, who remains in the game.
We have the Clemson lineup here real quick. Davidson, Wilkie, Beer, Williams, Cromwell, Wharton, Hawkins, Hall, and Green. Again, no Keir Meredith, no Grayson Bird tonight for Clemson. Brooks Crawford on the mound for the Tigers. With that, we use as a preamble to welcome in the money coach, Fran Halloran, for his usual Thursday visit with us. And Fran, I understand you have some thoughts about the legislation the NFL brought about yesterday concerning the national anthem.
Well, let's just boil this down to what it's about, guys. It's all about the money. I'm just going to check out almost every decision that seems to be made in sports, whether it's the NFL, Major League Baseball, the NBA, college, doesn't matter. These decisions are about one thing and one thing only. It's about money. And the NFL, it's about the fact that over the last 2 years, they've lost $500 million when it comes to revenue. And they're asking themselves, why is this happening? And obviously, on everybody's mind today is this whole anthem thing. And so many people think it's because it's the anthem, protest. And, let's be honest. That's certainly one of the reasons I didn't watch a lot of the NFL last year. I didn't want to see a bunch of spoiled, rotten millionaires behaving like children over issues they really didn't know anything about. I just wanted to play football and leave the politics alone. That's just my take on it. But this is not only about the anthem. The NFL is losing money for a lot of reasons. The anthem is clearly one of them. But there's more to this. There's saturation. Guys, it used to be that Sunday was sacred. It used to be that Sunday was sacred. You went to church on Sunday, or you went to whatever house of worship you were a part of, and then you watched football. And you got one, maybe two games, a 1 o'clock game and a 4 o'clock game. There's so much football on, I can't keep it straight. I don't know when it's easier for me to say when the NFL isn't playing,
Money coach, I'm wondering also from the standpoint, and I was not able to contribute to this discussion yesterday because of the fact that I was down getting the post-game stuff from Clemson, but another part of this that I think is not being talked about enough, and I was wondering if you were going to bring this part up, is that, for a long time, the NFL policy was the same as the colleges. They played the anthem when the players were inside, with the exception of special occasions and the Super Bowl, and they only started playing the anthem with the players on the field because the Department of Defense, the U.S. Department of Defense, started contributing money to the NFL as a result of wanting players to show patriotic stances in exchange for basically using that from the Department of Defense's perspective as a recruiting tool for the armed forces. And I'm wondering if that also isn't playing into the United States' not only influence on the NFL, but also the NFL reacting to the influence of our president.
I don't know if it's as much about the president as it is about the armed forces. Clearly, the military and the NFL have had its share of deals over the years, and I think you're on to something there, Will. I don't think our president has had anywhere near as much influence over it as people might give him credit for, because we all know, whether you like our president or you don't like our president, he says a lot of things that you got to kind of let go off like water off a duck's back. But I'm not going to discount the relationship the military has had and continues to have with the NFL. Now, I don't think it's anywhere near as influential as you might think, because the money being spent by the military with the NFL is nowhere near as much as the revenue dollars from the television ads, from the television content. I really think this is about the fact that lots of people are walking away from the sport. And I do think it has something to do with it. But there's more than that. As I said, saturation. How about bad football? Do I ever really want to see the Cleveland Browns play in my particular geographical area? No, I don't want to see it. And how about big market areas like L.A., where there's two teams now and they don't get any good games? No one's watching football games. Television revenue drives everything that college sports and professional sports are into today. And when the colleges and the pros are having trouble, when they're losing money because of bad behavior, whatever it might be, fix this bad behavior so we can increase our revenues or get our revenues back. $500 million is what the NFL lost in 2017.
Yeah,
that is a massive chunk of change.
Yeah, I'm going to go against the grain and say that I think the anthem has something to do with it, but to me, very little. I think it's the oversaturation. I mean, and then carrying games over to England, broadcasting them early on Sunday morning, that's ridiculous to me. That really tests the health of the players, especially big linemen. Behemoths having to stay on a plane a long time is not good physically for them.
No, it's not. It's not good at all physically.
And the Thursday night games are pitiful because these players played on Sunday, and you're going to drag them out there to play on a Thursday. Now, the Thanksgiving game once a year, I can see that. But all this Thursday night football, that is really in my opinion.
And I think that has as much to do with the NFL's problem as everything else we've discussed. It used to be that the NFL, as I said, Sunday was sacred. If you got to see one game, let alone two, man, you felt like you had a big week. You can watch football anytime, any place, and it's almost become an embarrassment of riches. And people, when they get too much of anything, they get sick of it. As simple as that. You can't give us too much candy or we'll overeat. And we won't
time, sir. So if you can, give us the information that people can get a hold of you for your money advice and help as well.
888-779-2557. 888-779-2557. Higgins and Halloran Financial Group is here to help you with your money. Guys, have a great evening, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Coach. Corn, what's going on in Hoover?
What is going on is more free baseball as we go to the 11th inning.
You sound over there.
Yeah, I'm tired. I mean, I'm not seeking sympathy or anything. It is what it is. Let's see, what's today? Thursday? So Tuesday night, the Gamecocks played the last game, and Eastern time got to bed at 5 in the morning. Yesterday, Wednesday, Gamecocks played the last game, got to bed a little more convenient. That was a 4 a.m. Hitting the pillow Eastern time. And now here, of course, we had a 2-hour rain delay and an extra inning game has pushed everything back. So anyway, I'll quit my complaining and my whining. 3-3 going to the top of the 11th. This game might never end. I hope it goes all night. I hope we play until tomorrow morning.
We'll get started here at Durham at 8:15. We'll give you some more preview on that and also update some of the other scores of in-state teams who are currently in action as we close up shop here on Sports Talk.
Hey, Corn.
Yo.
We'll say he has the Charleston game in front of him now.
Q.
LSU third baseman, number 5, Jake Slaughter.
Which game will finish first? Yes, right. Wow. .337. Arkansas. 347.
The catcher, number 13, Nick Coombs.
Everybody clap your hands. Oh, yeah. Everybody clap your hands.
Hey, gummit. This is crappy. Ugh. .747. Let's just say this game ends. It won't end till 8. Next game will start at 8:30. They'll probably play 3 hours.
Now back to Sports Talk, South Carolina's most
midnight Eastern
sports
time.
talk show for more than 30 years.
That's right. They might move one.
Welcome back, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, as we get you ready for baseball tonight and continue appraising you on the baseball that's being played currently in Hoover to Phil Kornblut, where things are, again, taking a turn for the extras.
Yes. Yes, indeed. This game could go on all night. Just talking to John Whittle, just figuring. I kind of hope it does cross the midnight hour because that'll be 3 consecutive games the Gamecocks have played in 2 different days. So I think that's a record they could be proud of. We're going to the bottom of the 11th. The Gamecocks, pretty easy top of the 11th there, 3 up and 3 down for LSU. So it's 3-3, 3-9-1 for LSU, 3-6-1 for the Gamecocks. The Gamecocks will send up Tolbert, who's 1 for 3 today, Hunter Taylor, and Jacob Olson. And if they need more, then Matt Williams will be on deck. So we'll see if they can manufacture something. But LSU just had an inning of a ground ball to the shortstop and a couple of fly balls. So relatively easy inning there for the Gamecocks defensively. We'll see if they can manufacture a run and end this thing and get back to the hotel and get some rest. And you know what? If whoever survives this game will have a little bit of an advantage in that they're going to play the loser of the last game tonight. And at this pace, that game's not going to get on before midnight Eastern time, I would say. And who knows if it'll get started that early. So they'll have a little bit of a rest advantage on that team if they make it through this and they turn around to play tomorrow afternoon.
One thing I think, Corn, that we probably haven't talked enough about when it comes to Gamecocks is that these young arms in their bullpen have really kind of come into their own. A lot of these freshman arms, guys like Gilreath today and Bridges and even Graham Lawson, players like that, they had to kind of take their lumps. Even Carmen Majinski the other night against Missouri, they had to take their lumps earlier in the season and on the midweek and even in some mop-up roles early on in SEC play when the Gamecocks were losing. But they have become a valuable asset for Mark Kingston and Skylar Meade.
Yeah, they have developed a nice back end of their bullpen. You thought Demurius was going to be the guy to close out most games, but he's really been the guy they've brought in the middle of games when they have fallen behind to keep it close and to give them a chance to get back in it. And Sawyer Bridges has kind of evolved as that end-of-game closer for them. And also Graham Lawson has given them some good outings here of late. So they've done a nice job of developing some arms in that bullpen to help them keep games within reach. And this has been typical of it. The offense hasn't done all that much today, just enough, and the pitching has kept them in it. Just like last night, they got off to a terrible start. They were down 10-1, but the middle relief kept it there long enough to where they could get a grand slam to get back to within a reasonable game. And even in the 9th inning when they loaded the bases, if they had come up with another hit or two, who knows what might have happened, but it just didn't happen. But my point is, for the most part, that pitching after the bad start from the first 2 hurlers they sent out there that put them in a big hole, they sort of calmed the game down and gave them a chance to kind of scratch and claw their way back into it as best they could. So 1 out now here in the bottom of the 11th, and the Gamecocks are just hoping they can get one across here and live to play another day, that day being tomorrow.
Yeah, more on Demurius. They're using him. If you remember the World Series a couple of years ago between the Cubs and the Indians, they're using Demurius the same way that Terry Francona used Adam Miller. And I think that they're using him in the highest of the high leverage situations. They're bringing him in whether they need 1 out, whether they need a couple of outs, whether they need him to even, keep them from falling too far behind in the game. And I think that, like you said, it's a very new age thing. It's something that's been talked about. If you've been watching the broadcast on the SEC Network all week, from their perspective, they talk about the analytics, they talk about the launch angle, but they also talk about the management of the bullpen pro. And it's not something that old school baseball fans will identify with, but it's more akin to the way the game is being played at the highest level right now.
Well, yeah, and more as we've seen in college, as that gorilla ball is over, the game, and I use the term manage, is being managed like a major league game. You have specialists in that bullpen. A lot of those young guys for the Gamecocks, Skylar Meade now has them trusting their stuff, and a lot of them have different deliveries, especially Demurius. You bring him in after he sees a flamethrower, that throws batters off. So just to have that change of pace in everybody you bring out of that bullpen, that's the way you stay in games longer. And like tonight, South Carolina need it.
Well,
go ahead, Corn.
I was just going to say one more thing about things here at the SEC, and Gamecocks go down. A little soft liner to shortstop. He had to leave his feet to go get it by Olsen. So we go to the 12th here at 3-3. I mean, these games have just been – I haven't been here for all of them. I've been here for the South Carolina games. But I'm going to go back and look through the box scores. I doubt in a full – now we've had I'm not sure we've had any shortened games because of the 10-run rule, but I don't think we've had a game under 3 hours. An example, last night, you got Boston and Cleveland on television, and of course, I'm happy to say the Celtics won, leading that series 3-2. Very nice performance last night. But here's my point: that game started, and the baseball game that was going on at that time was in the 5th inning of that game when the Celtics and the Cavaliers started, and that basketball game ended. They played that entire game at the time it took to finish that baseball game and then start the South Carolina game. There was a half hour in between games. They were able to play an entire NBA playoff game. So
that's crazy.
These games are just sort of slugged along here. Slugged meaning, dragged, and been with all the delays and the replays and all that kind of stuff. It's just made for a very slow tournament, in my opinion.
Remind me of this, Corn. There are multiple fields there at the Hoover Mat?
No, there's just one. Now, they do have Hoover High School right around the corner where they can go and warm up and take some batting practice and things of that nature. But there's only this is a converted football field. They use this field for football as well.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying, because the break of time between the games that we have here is an hour, and there is no real practice facility. Yeah, maybe they can go to where they film the movie Bull Durham just down the street up here. Maybe run some foul poles to foul poles, but they can't get anything with a hitting facility here because the hitting cages are outside. So they have an hour break between the games here, but they have only a half-hour break in Hoover.
But you're only doing 3 games a day there.
True. The other games that are going on right now, College of Charleston, following that extra inning loss to Elon, they have to come right back and play Delaware in an elimination game, and they currently trail 3-0 to the Blue Hens in the top of the 2nd inning, and the CAA championships going on right now. As I mentioned to you earlier, Furman eliminated in the SoCon after a 5-2 loss to East Tennessee State. Wofford and Sanford scoreless in the top of the 2nd, also in the SoCon. Winthrop and Gardner-Webb are just underway. They're in the bottom of the 1st, no score in the Big South. Coastal Carolina and South Alabama underway in the bottom of the 2nd with 2 out. Clemson and Miami set to go here. They will start in about 20 minutes time from right now. And again, South Carolina and LSU. You got one final, just give us your situation, Kenneth.
Who?
You.
Who's Kenneth?
What's your frequency, Kenneth?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
it's
I don't know what you're talking about. If you're making a movie reference there, I have no idea.
It's actually a pop culture reference from Dan Rather, but it's okay.
I would never get that. 3-3 as we begin the top of the 12th. And let me see who the Gamecocks have on the mound, if they changed anybody while we were talking. Still Gilreath on the mound for the Gamecocks.
So tomorrow, we can either have a show from 3 different locations, 2 different locations, or Corn and I can be back in studio in Columbia, depending on the way these games shake out here. So we will talk to you from somewhere in the United States, all 3 of us together. But until we do so, we say so long. Remember to keep up on our Twitter at SportsTalkSC on Twitter for the updates from the late game in Hoover and the one here in Durham, and also SportsTalkSC.com for the latest news on both of these games, wrapping up with a post-game sound, and also the latest on the recruiting notes for the Gamecocks in Clemson. For Phil Corn, Professor Tom Hayes, Will Pelagic saying so long, and thanks for listening to Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network.
Good job.
Let me know when you're ready. We'll knock this thing out.
All right, hold on.
I know it'll have some background in it, but what the hell?
Hey, you need anything from Will before I let him go?
Let me just think. No, I guess we're telling them we're both going to do. Well, we'll communicate. We'll both do wraps for the morning again. Keep them like we did this past morning. So no, I think we're good.
I'm rolling, Core.
All right.